In the last 4 years, I've been able to generate millions of dollars worth of revenue utilizing LinkedIn for myself and for my clients. So I wanted to break down exactly in today's video how you can actually create a campaign which is as profitable as the ones that I've been able to help develop. Now, today I'll be sharing with you not just the copywriting and the sequencing, but even the higher level strategy of what makes a really effective LinkedIn campaign work. And this will work incredibly well for anyone who's selling a high ticket offer, whether you're a coach, consultant, agency owner, software founder, all of those particular use cases will work for this particular strategy. All right, so you can see my screen right now, and what you're actually seeing is a software that I utilize. It's called Dripify. It helps us actually automate out a lot of these campaigns, which is actually one of the underlying foundational pieces that go into a really profitable LinkedIn campaign, where you do have a software that allows you to do a lot of this automatically even while you sleep. And by the way, if you want to utilize Dripify and you want to give it a test drive for free, you can actually go to my description box below and just sign up for a free trial, no cost. That being said, what you're gonna be able to find once you have Dripify is you can create these really, really great campaigns. And I'm gonna share with you what one of our campaigns look like right now that generates a really, really great return. So just so that you understand what a campaign even is to begin with. So basically a campaign is going to be where you find a particular prospect that is of a good fit, and then you're going to send them a connection message. And once they accept this connection message, then you could start sending them additional messages to try to get them into a phone call or to convert them somewhere down the line. So normally you'll need to be doing all of this manually, finding of the leads and then sending them of the messages and following up. But with the software, you can pretty much have this all running on autopilot. So here's the campaign structure that I would recommend with Dripify. So you're gonna have the first step always being the connection request. So essentially what that would look like is if you went on someone's profile who you weren't already connected to and you wanted to connect with them, and then you would essentially click this manually, you would add a note, and then you would send them that request. Now, with Dripify, obviously this could be automated, and you can even pre-write the actual message that you're utilizing so that you have a bit more personalization. And I'll go through the individual pieces of copy later in this video. I just want to share with you the basic overall structure first, okay? So the first step is, of course, sending out the connection request. What you're going to want to know, though, about LinkedIn is once you've sent out the connection request, you're gonna have to wait for the prospect to actually say yes to your connection request before you can send out any more messages. If they don't actually accept yes, then you're not gonna be able to private message them at all. And that's why in Dripify, you're able to essentially have a branching logic where if the person accepts the request, then you can continue sending them more messages. As you can see here, I'm sending out a message once every couple days. But if they don't accept, then I'm gonna start doing things to try to get them to actually accept, such as I'm gonna like their post, or I'm gonna follow them, or I'm gonna comment on one of the things that they've shared in the past, right? All of these things will get them to hopefully see my name in their notifications. And if they see my name and they go to my profile, then hopefully they'll actually accept the connection request, which will then let me send them proper messages. Because once again, if they don't accept, I can't actually send them a private message. So now that we've actually discussed the two branches of the campaign, let's actually go a bit into the copywriting, okay? Now, for the connection message itself, what does the copy look like? So generally, what you're gonna wanna do is just keep things very high level. Don't ask for anything yet. Definitely don't ask them to jump on a sales call with you. Don't try to hard pitch them anything, because the reality is, if you try to do that, the acceptance percentage on your connection request will go down dramatically because they don't know anything about you yet. And if you're pitching right away, despite having no relationship, it's just a bit of a turnoff, okay? So what my recommendation is, just say something nice. Obviously use their name. If you can, share anything that's personal or that you share in common, such as, hey, we're both in the same industry, we're both from the same part of the world. That will probably help you in your conversion rate as well. For me, I just like to say things like, hey, would love to connect and learn from your experiences with no real question or ask of any kind. Let me go to my LinkedIn profile right now so that you can actually see some of the connections that people are sending me. And some of them are just really, really bad. You can see here, Zeal literally just pitches me right out of the gate. You know, doesn't know anything about me, just tries to book me into a call right away, I'm for sure going to ignore and decline this message. Now, Nicola here, a little bit better. Hey Lloyd, I would love to connect with you and expand our network. She's not asking anything of me, so I'm okay with this, but she's also not really adding any value. It's very obvious that this is copy and pasted, and there's no sense of personalization. So my preference is don't do either of these things. Once again, try to at least incorporate some level of personalization, which is something that I do here in this highlighted section of my connection message. So that is my recommendation. Now, let's say the person accepts, right? Normally, what I would do is as soon as the person accepts, within the hour, since they're likely to still be on LinkedIn, I'm gonna send them a message. I'll be top of mind, but what I'll be sending to them is essentially something of value. Most people on LinkedIn nowadays get pitched so often, they're getting so many cold DMs from random vendors online that anyone that just say, hey, here is what I do, here's how I help, do you want to jump on a call? They're usually going to get ignored. So instead, my approach is one where I try to be more conversational and where I try to add more value. Hey, thanks for connecting. I know a lot of people probably just spam you online. That's not really what I'm here to do. I made this free video course that I want to give you. It'll help you overcome X, Y, and Z problem. Would you like it? So the reason why I like this is because it's very easy ask. Instead of trying to take something from them, such as their time, I want to just give them something that is most likely going to be valuable. And when I do that, good things happen. For example, we did that literally with this prospect here, Allison, runs a leadership coaching company, and we essentially sent that, and she says, yes, I would love this thing that you have to offer. And then once we give it to her, we're able to then start asking her questions about, okay, so like, why do you want this? What problems are you trying to solve? Are you in fact struggling with your lead generation? And now I've opened the door to a bit of a conversation, a bit of a back and forth, right? She trusts me a bit more, and she starts telling me, yeah, the reason that I wanted it is because I'm overly reliant on word of mouth. I'm overly reliant on referrals. I would like something a bit more systematic, but I just don't really have anything like that built out yet. So now she trusts me a bit more. She knows that I'm trying to actually add value. I've given her content that proves to her that we are experts, and now I know a little bit more about her pain points. So if I wanted to pitch her into a call, it would be as easy as saying, hey, you just said that you're struggling with systematically building out lead generation processes. That's literally what we do. Can I jump on a call and share with you exactly how we can help? So this is much, much easier to get someone to agree to than to just tell someone straight up, hey, I do all these crazy things. Do you want to jump on a call with me? Most of the time, people are just going to say no to that. So the second message is really just providing the link to the video and giving a quick summary, trying to sell them to watch it because I really do want them to check out the content because the content in and of itself will sell them on the idea that I'm an expert, and I really like that. I think it's valuable for them to perceive me as an expert. And then the final message here, the third one, really is just starting a conversation, asking them about what pains they're going through, because once again, if I can get them into a bit of a conversation and they do tell me some of their struggles and their pains, I can then pivot that into telling them about, hey, I can actually fix that issue. What you're gonna notice is that in none of these messages am I just trying to straight up pitch them into a call. I'm always going to approach this from a bit more of a conversational perspective, because I really do believe that providing value is the best way to actually get sales calls booked in the calendar with strangers. The final important thing that I want to share in regards to the campaign strategy is what happens if someone just never accepts your connection request. Obviously, that's not ideal because if they don't accept the connection request, you're not going to be able to send them a private message. But there's actually a cool loophole that will still allow you to send out a message to those who don't even accept your connection request. And that loophole is essentially using an in-mail. An in-mail, just so that you understand, is a message where you would send someone if they have not accepted the connection. Now, the downside of in-mails is that sometimes it gets categorized in the other section in your inbox, so people are not as likely to see it. And it also says right here in bold in-mail, so you kind of know that it's going to be probably a sales pitch. So you're not going to have as good of a conversion rate on it, but at least using an in-mail is better than to not show up in someone's inbox at all. Now, what does an in-mail look like? This is an example that I've gotten in the past. Definitely, this is a pretty mediocre copy. I don't like this at all. It's very, very salesy. This person just asking me for a call. But the reality is, an in-mail is essentially just a cold message that you're able to send to even strangers on LinkedIn. So obviously having them accept your connection request so that you can send them a private message that doesn't have this in-mail label on it, nor have it show up in the other section would be better. But hey, it's still better to have a message sent out to those people than to not at all. So the way that it works is in your campaign, you can set up a logic that says, after a week or two of this person not accepting my connection request, maybe I'll just send them an in-mail as like a final Hail Mary. And you can actually set up this logic here. I pretty much would use the same exact copy that I would in the messages that I would send out if someone did connect with me. Meaning, hey, do you want this free asset, this free video guide? Because I think that it'll be valuable. Once again, this is much, much better than to just do what these people are doing, which is just like spam pitching me, right? Now, the in-mail isn't going to go to literally everyone who doesn't accept your connection request. It'll only be sent to the people who actually allow in-mails to come, meaning people with open profiles. There are going to be a lot of people who have a closed off profile, and you're not going to be in-mailing them at all. That's yet another reason why it's better to have people actually accept your connection request. If they do respond, you could then set up a logic where as soon as this person responds, you can essentially send out the follow-up message that includes the link to whatever it is that you're providing for free. And then that's the end of the sequence, right? The purpose of this is to spark a reply. This entire campaign, which once again, built in Dripify, if you do want to try this software out for free, just go to my description link below and you can check it out, use a free trial code. But I do want to clarify something, right? This automation, all of this is for the purpose of actually getting your customers into a dialogue with you. You've probably noticed by now that in the automation messages here, I'm not actually providing calendar links. I'm not actually saying, hey, jump on a call, because the ask for them to jump on a call is gonna really come from the dialogue itself, right? It's gonna come from the dialogue that you're gonna have with someone after they've actually responded to your automated messages. So here's an example, right? With Sebastian here, we send out the conversation, and then now we've earned the right to have a bit of a dialogue. I mean, so you can see here, right? We're asking questions in our outreach. We're actually trying to start a dialogue, figuring out their pain points, figuring out their objectives. And only once does Sebastian in this situation start telling us about his goals, about his pain points, then do we start actually asking him, hey, like, why don't we chat on a quick call? I can just tell you things that you could do to further optimize your outreach process. And then from there, we send out the calendar link and book the call. So this dialogue portion of the process isn't something that you'd actually be doing in the automated messages. The automated messages are just there to try to get you into the dialogue. So if you want to actually have a dialogue in and of itself, that's going to be done in the inbox section. And Dripify also allows you to have an inbox where as soon as the prospects actually reply, then you can actually go in here and field all of these conversations one by one. And you can imagine if you're blasting out 50 of these connection requests every single day, and some percentage of them are obviously replying back, then you're going to be able to have a ton of dialogues that you're going to have to manage. So that's going to be part of your job as an entrepreneur. You're going to have to deal with all these conversations, manage them well, and then send them calendar links so that they can ultimately book a meeting with you. Now, if you actually have so much volume of these conversations that you can't handle it all on your own, my recommendation is you just essentially have an appointment setter that could deal with all the conversations on your behalf. And that way you could step away and have this entire process be delegated. If you are looking for a video that teaches a little bit more about how you can actually hire an appointment setter so that you could offload some of this business development and prospecting work, just check out one of these videos above and you'll be able to actually get a bit more insight into how to hire an appointment setter, how to train them, etc., etc. The final thing that I'll say as well in regards to the overall effectiveness of the campaign is that the lead list also matters a lot. It's not enough to just have your sequencing and your copywriting being really good. If you're targeting the wrong audience, you're not going to be able to see really any success. So that's why I encourage you to also invest in Sales Navigator, which is essentially the premium version of LinkedIn, and make sure that when you're building lists to actually prospect into, you're only going after the perfect ideal fit. Sales Navigator will allow you to filter based on things like how long they've been in business, how big their companies are, which industry or which geography they're in. And obviously, once you have these lists, you can just import them into Dripify so that you can target exactly those particular members. So that's it for my tutorial today. If you need to utilize something like Dripify, once again, just go to my description link, sign up for a free trial. But if you actually want me to potentially consult you on your LinkedIn outreach strategy and your lead generation process as a whole, maybe it's not even just LinkedIn, maybe it's hiring, maybe it's email strategy, maybe it's content and how you can utilize content in order to build more trust. All of these things we actually help our clients with. So book a call with me in the description box below, and we can set up a time and potentially see if we can help you out. Check out some of these other recommended videos above because I know they'll be able to help you out, and I will see you next time. All right, cheers.